Come down and let the pets out again. And get some free range time. The chickens really do like their time. They're spoiled now. They expect it. So let's see who we got here. See, they immediately come over. They know they're going to get corn fed. So I put the corn down here. There's Two-Face. I don't know. I've said it many times. I really enjoy what I'm doing and not having the stress of daily life like you do when you have a job. I mean, I've worked really hard in my life, really hard, and I'm sure everybody says that. And I don't know. I ran my own company for 10 years, and the stress of that place always shutting down was just always on my mind. 2003, we had a recession. And I was just getting started. I just got started in 2000. So, I mean, it was still building. I didn't have a lot of clients, and I lost all but one. So I grabbed a lawnmower. I bought a lawnmower with our last $800. And I started cutting grass around town for $10 a lot. Now, what I did was I stepped off my yard, and I thought, okay, I think that's 2 lots. So if it was bigger than, what I'd stepped off in my own yard, then I would get charged, appropriately. And I got a couple good jobs out of that. One was, I think, was $40. And then once a month, she'd have us cut up a back field, and we had 2 lawnmowers. I mean, I had one little bitty riding mower, and my ex-wife rode around on that little one, and I'd ride around on the big one. We had 2 weed whackers and a push mower. We drove around with a little trailer. It only held 1 lawnmower, but I got it where I could piggyback the 2 lawnmowers and I could ride them around together. Anything to do to just make some money, so I keep that darn business open. Very stressful. Now, I mean, obviously I was raising a daughter. I had a young wife and a daughter and that I adopted, and I really wanted to make sure that they had the best life possible. I suppose we could have come live off grid and life would have been a lot more simplistic and easy, but I had this mindset that, no, I want to give my daughter every opportunity in life that I had, or better. And she did. She graduated high school. We homeschooled her at 14. She went to college at 14. And now she's got 2 bachelor degrees and she's working on her master's degree. I made a video about this a while back. But the stress was just always there. And then I finally closed down the business in 2010. So it lasted 10 years. And I got a job as a production manager at a shelter workshop. And I was working 16 hours a week, most times 7 days a week. I wasn't paid an hourly wage, so it was salary, so I always got paid the same paycheck no matter what. But you never got to enjoy anything. I had 8 acres. We rented 8 acres. This was incredible. It was like $350 a month for 8 acres and a house. I mean, it was an old farmhouse. What it was is some guy's father and mother died. So he inherited this place, and he didn't want to give it up because it was sentimental to him. But he didn't really want to maintain the grass, cut the grass, or pay for the grass. So what he did was he rented out the place to pay the taxes. I'm sure that's what it was. And then said, okay, you cut the grass, clean the carpet once a year, and you can have it real cheap. Oh, the thing is, like I said, I never got to enjoy it. I would have to cut the grass on the weekends that I really didn't have much time to cut on anyways. And so, I mean, I enjoy cutting grass. I love cutting this place, but I was just always in such a rush. I remember Carolyn and she wanted to go outside. I cut down all these deadfall trees. I cut them all down, split them up in logs at one point or another. And she wanted to go out and just have a campfire, just sit by the fire. And I don't know how to explain this. Even though it was so relaxing, what would happen though is the time would fly by too fast. You'd sit there, you relax, and all of a sudden, 2 hours have went by. I couldn't allow 2 hours to go by because that meant I was 2 hours closer to having to go back to work. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. So fast forward, of course, we did the nomadic thing, and nomad life calmed me down quite a bit. I mean, it was a good 3 years. Don't get me wrong. We didn't like it. There was a lot wrong with it, but it was a lot better than the job. But here, we have no stress. There's just none. We were talking about this morning. The economy's in the tank. I filled the gas tank 2 weeks ago, and I still got it's almost full. It's moved off the marker just a little bit. Don't have any expenses. And I was watching another off-grid channel, and he was talking about that he lived in the city, and they moved out here, well, actually in Missouri, bought a piece of property, and they don't have any expenses. There's just nothing to be expended. Electric, gas, sewer, water, none of that. Before long, you don't even realize that when you're living life out here, that you have no stress. It's just happy-go-lucky all the time. I mean, and I know that I've said this a lot, but this channel has been struggling quite a bit. And it is, I don't want to say stressful. It's on my mind. And the reason it's on my mind is because what I would like to be able to do is, let's say I'm 65 years old, to be able to kick back and relax pretty much. I mean, maybe make a video a couple times a week, 3 times a week, something like that, and just kind of enjoy the fruits of my labor. I've got enough firewood now to last me the rest of my life. So I just kind of kick back, buy a pig maybe. Not hard. My grandparents raised a couple pigs. Wasn't hard. I mean, he'd get up in the morning, feed them, and just kind of live minimalistically without a lot of stress in my old age. Grandpa worked until he was, well, I don't think he ever fully retired. He was partial retired probably when he turned 80. I don't want to be that way. I just don't. I don't want to just keep beating myself to death for the rest of my life. I've been saying that I've started a second channel. We'll get that thing going. We'll make some extra revenue. And then we'll have, 2 YouTube channels going. So I can work a little bit harder now. Still pretty relaxing, not overly stressed about things. Raise our chickens, raise some pigs. Carolyn was talking about how the economy is going bad. It has been going bad. I mean, we've all seen it. I'm sure you recognize that food prices are going up, gas prices are going up. I think they're coming back down, they say, but not to the levels they were last year. Everything's kind of going up in price, but I don't have any extra cost. Yeah, I go to the gas station, it's a little higher. But right now, let's just say that the chickens and all the food that we bought at the beginning of this year when prices were still down, and we got 300 cans of food, our food prices haven't went up. Everybody else's went up. Ours went down this last time we went shopping. The time before last we went shopping, we spent like $210. Well, let's just call it $250 for sake of argument. Well, this last time it was $175. Well, how's that possible with all the prices going up? Well, it was possible because we don't have a lot of things that we need to buy now. We got all the food we need, so we just needed to replace a few items. So even though we got less food, we didn't pay near as much as what everybody else is paying. So this is becoming more self-sustaining here all the time. Less stress, don't have to worry about things. Even when the economy is so bad that I'm making less money than I've made in a long time, I don't have to worry about it. Carolyn was saying that she would like to have something that reproduces. And she was heading towards talking about rabbits. She says, the only reason I don't want to get a rabbit is because I don't know what they taste like. And I'd hate to buy rabbits and then find out I don't like them. Of course, I tried to convince her that rabbits taste just like chicken. They really do. If you eat a wild rabbit, you'll say, oh, it tastes like chicken. And then you eat a tame rabbit, you'll notice that the flavor isn't quite as pungent. And then you'll try to eat a wild rabbit again, and then you'll realize, the wild rabbit is gamey tasting. But when you eat it for the first time, you'll never notice. Of course, rabbits are just a lot of work in my mind, more work than I'd like to put into it. I mean, you got, let's say you got 50 rabbits, 25, 50 rabbits, and they each have their own cage. Even if you put 2 per cage or something like that, you got to go around and you got to feed and water each one of those cages. It's a lot of work. Whereas here, I got a bucket of water I can put in there. They all share. I got a bucket of food. They go in, they all share. They all go into the same house at night. They're all together. It's like one animal. Chickens are like one animal. And then we're trying to raise a rabbit to give birth. I really struggled with that. It was like 2 or 3 tries before we got that right. The rabbit kept eating the babies. Somebody's gonna say, well, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. Okay, you did it wrong, but you waited all this time, you fed all that food to these rabbits, and then about the time you're gonna get the payoff, you lose it. Well, these chickens, they never lose. Even if you lose a chicken, it's not like you're losing a bunch. You lose an egg here or there. She wants me to feed her again, I don't know why. After we got to talking about rabbits, she says, I don't know why I keep thinking that way. We got chickens. Now last year, you'll remember, we raised meat birds. And that was a lot of work. It really was. Meat birds, they grow so fast and eat so much food, and they're susceptible to everything. They don't like the heat. The heat will kill them. They don't like the cold will kill them. Well, we'd rather raise them in the heat, because all you really got to do is keep them wet, keep plenty of water. They'll be okay, keep them out of the sun, and we did. We managed pretty good. And we lost, I think, 4 or 5 for different reasons. But there was a little bit of added stress to having the meat birds that you don't necessarily need to have, I think. I don't know if we'll do meat birds again. We may one of these days, but what we're really going to work on next year with the chickens specifically is getting them to reproduce. We got 2 roosters and the rest are hens. What we'd like to do is get one of the hens to get broody and raise chickens. I don't know how many eggs they can hold. Let's say they can hold 10 eggs. Well, that's 10 chickens they can have. You have to raise them longer, but the thing is I wouldn't have to take care of them. They'd be part of the flock because the mother raises them. The mother defends the babies, the chicks, against the roosters. So I don't have to do any work. Whereas with the meat birds, I was coming down there all the time. You'll know if you watched this last summer, I was giving the meat birds baths just to cool them off. Every day I'd come out and give them a bath. Well, this year we're going to get pigs. Now the pigs will give us as much food as what we already have. We have 300 jars of food, 300 days worth of food. Well, the pigs will do that. We'll get 2 pigs. I know it was kind of a ramble today, but I really think that we should all start considering how we can become more self-sustaining. So anyway, I'm going to put a link to my other channel here. I really appreciate it if you just go watch the video. Even if you don't like them, just watch them for me. I'd really appreciate it. I need some watch time is what it is. And when I get enough watch time, then they'll monetize my channel and I can make money from both channels. I'll be able to sustain both channels really well then. So I hope I can inspire you to find the happiness in your dream. Thanks for watching.